Welcome to the SharkPreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Green. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Green is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Do you want to become insanely successful? Do you want to be the go-to guru in your industry? Do you want to be talked about for all the right reasons? For over 40 years, Kevin Harrington has helped people just like you become significant influencers. Now he's broken the process down in the Key Person of Influence roadmap, and it's yours for free. Just text KPI to him at 727-888-2100. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free step-by-step guide. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 to get the recognition you deserve and experience the success as the go-to voice everyone listens to in your industry today. Welcome to the SharkPreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Green. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing Donnie Boivin from My Success Champions. Donnie started, well, I'm going to let him tell you about his journey from the Marine Corp to starting his own business, almost shutting it down, and then achieving an immense level of success. Donnie, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Seth, thanks for having me on, man. This is an honor to be on here. A lot of people talk about your show, and so it's fun to come hang out. You know, I thought you'd be better looking, though, so I got to be honest.
Well, listen, we only can do with what the cards were dealt, right?
But this is why we're both podcasters, because we definitely have the face for radio, so it works out well.
Oh, speak for yourself, sir. I've been on TV a whole bunch of times. So before we start, just want to say thank you for your service to our country. We greatly appreciate that.
My honor.
All right, so let's take a look at that. So you 22, fresh out of the Marine Corps. You landed your first sales job, and you did that for like 2 decades, right?
Yeah. You know, when I jumped out, it was like most guys when we got out of the military, no clue what the heck I wanted to be when I grew up. So, you know, best friend and his old man were running an HVAC business, so heating and air conditioning. So I went to work for them in Texas. And, you know, they had me as the install guy. So I was climbing up in the attics and under houses in Texas summers. And, you know, it didn't take long to realize I didn't want to do that. So I was on the brink of quitting when my boss is like, nah, why don't you go sell for us? I'm like, what the heck is sales? I'm 22 years old. I have no idea what sales. He's like, oh, you're just going to go door to door and knock on it until somebody responds and says, hey, you know, they want to buy a new heating and air conditioning system. I didn't know what I was doing, but you know, long story short, that started my whole jaunt into the sales. I spent 2 decades straight commission the entire run. And, you know, it was right around 40 years old. Actually, it was exactly 40 years old when I had worked my way up into a partnership of a large sales training company. And we had some great success. We were out celebrating cocktails with my then business partner. And as we were going through the process of talking back the past years, how everything was going, he looked right at me and said one phrase that changed the trajectory of everything for me. And he said, Donnie, I just got to tell you, I'm so grateful you're my retirement plan.
Wow.
Yeah. And when he said it, man, I don't remember the exact words, but I'm pretty sure that I said, you know, it's my honor. I've loved helping you, you know, in that moment, what you say. But man, as soon as I walked out to my truck, I remember sitting in my truck for a few minutes going, what the heck are you doing? I've literally spent 40 years on this planet living somebody else's dream. I was literally somebody else's retirement plan. Now, he said that out of love and information. He was really, truly, you know, grateful that I was helping him out. And I'll never take that away from him. He's a hell of a guy. But as we, you know, progressed forward for 15 days from that moment, I jumped out of my own and launched my own business. And I walked away from everything. And it was 6 months into running that business that I realized that I wasn't a business owner, and I would run my business straight into the ground and then started rebuilding from there. So that's kind of the background of how we got to where we are now.
Okay. So what business did you start?
So I really thought that, like a lot of people do who grew up in the self-help game, you know, I thought I was just going to go be the speaker on stages. And I was cocky enough to think that I was just going to put a website, tell everybody I'm a speaker, and the world was going to like show up and, be sunshine and rainbows. Well, that quickly didn't come to fruition at all, because locally people knew who I was, but anywhere else, nobody had a clue who Donnie Boivin was. So I did a lot of odd things in the beginning, trying to figure out what it was to be a speaker, whatever that means. And so I was doing websites, I was doing graphic design, anything I can get my hands on. And it literally wasn't until I found podcasting that everything started flipping and changing. So I gave a big speech in Fort Worth, Texas, my hometown, large crowd. And I told my wife before I went on stage, like, I'm going to give it all this, leave everything on the floor. So I was literally running across the stage, acting like a fool. And afterwards,
Tony Robbins, yep.
Yeah, very much, very much. I was actually thinking more Garth Brooks, Bruce Springsteen, but same concept.
Country rock star. Yep.
Yep. So when I got off, this guy walked up to me and he goes, "Hey, I love your story. I love your energy. Would you come tell it on my podcast?" And I said, "What the heck's a podcast?" And this was April of 2018. And he explained that it was like talk radio. I'm like, Oh, that could be fun. I'm going to give that a go. So I jumped on the show and literally had a blast. After his show aired, somebody that was one of his listeners reached out to me. They asked me if I would come in and train their company on sales. I'm like, oh, I can give that a go. And so I started doing that. And then I realized I could go on podcasts and get business. Hold my beer and watch this. And so that sent me down the path. And I tell everybody podcasting saved my business because it taught me processes, procedures. It taught me, about outsourcing and everything to run a successful business.
Well, congratulations. That's an incredible story. If it hasn't, it should be in a book somewhere. Now, let's talk about who your ideal client is now.
So I work with small business owners, usually that are beyond a year, 2 year in business. I want them to go through those first initial headaches before they get to me, because I don't think until you've been punched in the face by life that you know what it's going to take to move forward. And I want you to have that past success and know that you got the grit to stay in the game. So interestingly enough, what most people, as my business continued to grow and scale, they kept asking me how I was doing what I was doing from podcasting, getting on stages. Because at this point, we've launched the podcast, a magazine, we've got a summit coming up, we've got a whole bunch of moving parts going. And I just released my first book. And, people kept asking me how all this came about. So I started teaching and just walking people through what I was doing. And as that grew, more and more came along, and literally started a Facebook group, and we started monetizing, out of there. And so it's small business owners, year to two in business. They're probably already doing over 6 figures. If not, they're knocking on the door really hard and are ready to scale.
Okay. And what are you doing for them? What are they consuming? What are they hiring you for? How does that work?
So a lot of different moving parts. That's a great question, Seth. I appreciate it. It's a lot of it is I'm teaching on the business development side of things. So teaching them how to really go automate their sales processes and get out there out front. So we're teaching them online, offline sales so they can, really grow. Because most business owners, I'm finding, have never grown up in sales. They don't know the sales side of things. So we spend a lot of time there. And then we teach them how to go become the face of their company. Once we get them to a stable revenue flow, now it's about going out and being the front man or gal for their company, getting on podcasts, writing their book, getting on stages. And we have an entire team that we bring in to help put all those pieces together for them. So they can literally do like we do and just show up and look pretty.
See, now you're talking. All right. So let's talk a little bit. You've been doing this a couple of years now. Let's talk about some magical transformations. Give me some examples of folks that have worked with you and the kind of transformation they're experiencing and the results they're getting.
Yeah, my favorite one is Stevie. She came to me. Her business was doing just under $100,000. Her biggest goal was her husband hated her job, and she ran a consulting agency, and she was just tired of him being miserable, and all she wanted to do was bring him home. So we started working together. 6 months in, her husband Matt was able to straight up walk away from his entire business. He's now her COO. And what's funny is we were focused a lot on the business development and sales game. She's now going on stages and teaching business development and sales, which is, to me, kind of that pretty cool.
She's become a mini you. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's really cool. And then between, Stacy McGovern's another one. When I started working with her, she had a $4.5 million company, was really scaled, understood it, but she had a cool story that nobody had really heard of. She grew up in a small town, was married to a police officer, and in the process of trying to make ends meet, she stumbled across a gap in the marketplace, and she developed a business to where she can employ off-duty police officers in security positions. So if you're driving down the freeway in Texas and there's a police car there, that's her company. And going from small town to almost losing everything herself and then launching and building a $4.5 million company, she wanted to find ways that she could give back. She doesn't want to coach people. She doesn't want to, hold anybody's hand. She just wanted to share her story. So we started working with her, taught her how to get on stages, how to get on podcasts. And, it's fun is she's one of the keynotes coming up at our big summit as we're moving forward. And then Kevin Snow, there's a bunch of them that we continue to work with. Just a big key indicator for us is we want some people that have had success in their past. So if you were in corporate America, did you crush it back then? Did you hit the promotions? Did you actually invest in yourself outside of what you're doing? So we know you got that fight in the game.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. So you mentioned the summit a couple times. Talk about the summit.
So I don't know if I can curse or not on your show, so I may not be able to say the full name.
Go for it.
All right. It's called the Badass Business Summit. So it's in Fort Worth, Texas, April 3rd through the 5th. And we're bringing in 12 speakers across the U.S., and it's all heavily focused on the business development of your company. So it's how do you get on stages? How do you get on podcasts? How do you write your book? How do you automate your sales process? How do you monetize from stage? How do you use publicity and PR to grow your business? We have a full trade show at the event, book signings. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a thing. I teach everybody that you got to do the things in your business that scare the crap out of you if you want to figure out how to level up and go. And this was that for me. Inside my Facebook group, every Friday we do a thing called Champions Happy Hour. And it's literally, I'll sit on Zoom with a Captain Morgan in my hand and we talk shop, right? Business, that's whatever. Awesome. Sometimes I bring on and interview somebody. And out of that, one of the gals who was listening one day said, "Hey, I've got a speaking gig for you down in Corpus Christi, Texas." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Send me the information on it. We'll go." And everybody's like, "Well, if you're going to go down there, maybe we should all join." Wow. So what turned into, they were all going to meet me down. They were all going to meet me down there came into, why don't we just do our own? We'll do it in Fort Worth and everybody meets there. So we went from, and that was, it's 4 months planning altogether. So it was around November of last year that happened. And then we're crazy enough to say, okay, let's pull off a massive summit 4 months from that moment. Wow. I rented out the Hearst Convention Center and, figured out how to do tickets. I mean, we had never done anything like this. So we're learning a lot along the way, but we're completely stoked and excited that this is moving so fast and doing so well already, especially being year one. So we're gearing up for year 2s and 3 already as well. So
that's awesome. Congratulations. Now your next step is, once you've got it processed down and systemized that, is then teach other people how to
100%. 100%, man. That's how we've turned revenue in the company as a whole. Is it's the hero's journey, man. It's just teaching what you went through. And I tell everybody, I can't guarantee I can get you to a multi-million-dollar business, but I can get you to where I am. It's part of it is putting your head down, getting to work. I'm not the grind guy. I don't believe in the 18 hours a day because that's a surefire way to put your ass in the hospital. So, but if you will put in the time, one thing that always was just mind boggling to me is, as a sales guy, I was always number 1 or 2 in the company. And I really, thought I worked hard during those years, but it wasn't until I became a freaking entrepreneur that I understood that, holy hell, this is a whole new level of work.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, congratulations on not only surviving, but thriving and helping others do the same. I know your time's really valuable. What are some of the most common mistakes you see business owners making when trying to get to that next level that you guys help them with?
Yeah, they get lost in overwhelm. They're trying to please everybody. They're trying to do too many things. We usually get a company to focus in on, let's get 1 or 2 product lines. Let's run them to $100,000. I think a lot of times when people, pop their cherry, if you will, and get to that 100,000, there's so much to be learned on that journey about developing processes and putting things in place. That's where we spend a lot of time and focus is to get them there. And the other part of it is in that overwhelm, they stop doing the business development stuff. They stop doing the things that will grow and scale their business. So we'll usually do a couple things when we sit across from them. One, we'll clean out their pipeline because it's usually crap filled full of nonsense. And then two, we'll teach them proper business development behaviors, things that they got to do on a consistent, regular basis to grow and scale their business so they can move forward. And once people wrap their head around that it's processes and systems with a lot of grit, they're usually fine. And we teach them to duplicate those processes over and over. And anytime that their business starts backsliding, we can 100% go back to, you're not doing the business development stuff. It's all it is. Keep that stuff going and momentum will be yours.
Awesome. Great advice. Tell us what prompted you to write the book?
My listeners, my fans from my podcast, so they kept telling me more content. So the first stab at more content was the magazine, and that went really well. My team came to me and said, let's do a magazine. I said, nobody reads a magazine anymore.
Not true, sir.
I know. I found out. I mean, our first issue came out. We picked up 3,600 subscribers. We're 3 issues in now. We release a new issue every other month. We're up to almost 6,900 subscribers to that magazine. And it's just amazing how much people keep consuming content. So, and the magazine is called Success Champions, and you can find it out there on the internet. But from there, people wanted to hear more of my story, more of my journey, and they kept asking for that. So what I wanted to do is I didn't want it to be a biography type thing, because I got a lot more stuff to do in this world to be writing a biography of any sort. So what I did is I used my story to teach everything to help somebody grow the business. And it was a really cool process because I didn't do a whole lot of the actual writing. Literally, I recorded each chapter. I'd jump on Zoom or I'd jump on my phone and recorded the whole damn thing. And then had a team behind me that would transcribe it out, help write it out and everything so we get out there. And then the funnest feedback we've gotten on it so far is that everybody loves the cover because it fits my brand very well. And it's called How to Be a Success Champion. And then everybody says that the book feels like it was written just to them, which was the goal of the whole thing. So you
definitely nailed your target market. So
yeah.
We appreciate your time. Where is the best place for our folks to go to get the book and then learn more about you?
Yeah, so the book's out there on Amazon. Of course, it's the easiest place to find it. The number one thing we find that people struggle with is coming up for content in social media. There's 3 things you need to be doing in marketing at all times, and that's content, content, content. So we can put together a cool little package that teaches them how to make endless content in less than 20 minutes. So if they'll send a text, I am a success champion, to 817-318-6030, we'll send them an entire training for free. It's an hour-long video that walks them through how they can just make a ridiculous amount of content. So 817-318-6030 to send the words, I am a success champion.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been Seth Green for SharkPreneur with Donnie Boivin. Donnie, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Seth, before I get out of here, can I do one favor for you?
Of course.
Guys, if you listen to this, Seth has done an amazing job building an awesome podcast. Would you do me a favor and go teach somebody else how to listen to a show? We're still finding in this day and age that a lot of people don't know about podcasts. Literally, go up to your best friend and go, you need to be listening to Seth's show. Pull out his phone, put Seth's podcast on there, and teach somebody else how to listen to the show. It'll mean everything to him.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Thanks, everybody, for listening or watching. We'll talk to you next time. Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.